Hey everybody, Mark Vogt with Vogtland Outdoors. I got a request today from Josep in Spain. Yeah, Josep baby, how you doing? It was asking a question about how important the rigidity of the triangle that I use to hold the bowstring back during my draw. And the short answer is it's incredibly important, because it's what sets you up for a successful, meaning a successful small motion release. And it doesn't matter what the draw weight of the bow is. Doesn't matter if it's 60 pounds, 50 pounds, 40 pounds, 30 pounds, or 22 pounds. In fact, guys, it might actually be more important for the lighter weight bows, because it's the lighter weight bows, and this is unintuitive, but it's the lighter weight bows that actually are the most unforgiving when it comes to a crappy release. The stronger your draw weight, the higher your draw weight, the more forgiving the bow is about a poor release. Who knew? Let's get over to the range and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Cut. The release is the most important part of shooting bearable, especially when you're using the Vogtland shooting method. Because with the Vogtland shooting method, you're using string walking to precisely control the elevation of the arrow, hence the range of the arrow, so that you don't have any control over once you choose the gap. Once you choose the gap between the nock and the index finger, the drawing point, you've established very precisely what the elevation of the arrow is going to be, hence the range. Fine. You're anchoring underneath your chin, and looking down the left edge of the string, and putting the tip of the arrow right smack on the target. So your left to right alignment is also very precisely decided at that point. The only thing over which you can have sudden and possibly catastrophic control over the quality of the shot, the accuracy of the shot, is in the release. So that begs the question, what's the best way to do a release? My entire shooting method is all about trying to approximate the one thing that everybody that shoots knows shoots accurately, and that's a compound bow. So my release technique that I show you guys is all about trying to approximate how small the motion is of a mechanical release. You pull on a trigger and two little arms, two little teeth go like this, two little jaws open up, that's it. So we're trying to approximate how small that release is. I try to create a three-point triangle of firmness from which I actually release only my fingers but not the rest of my arm. Those 3 points are your chin, your elbow, and your shoulder. Those become a rigid 3-point triangle. If I were to tell you that I want you to anchor your wrist right here as hard as you can, it's just for the sake of the conversation. You form a 3-point triangle here. 1, 2, 3. It's firm. Don't let anybody pull your hand away. But it gives your hand the ability to move freely. So you have a strong foundation for your shot, but you allow your fingers to move. I want you to adjust that so your anchor point's not your wrist, but it's this digit right here of your finger. This right here is what goes under the chin firmly, allowing your fingers, the last digit, to open up. That's it. That's what this looks like. Now, for those of you that are skeptic and say, oh no, anchor under your chin, you're using all your back muscles or anything like that. Guys, look at it. If I draw, back like this, do I look like I'm struggling? Do I look like I'm not using all of my back muscles? I'm sitting here talking to you and my fingers are still anchored underneath my chin. If there's something wrong with my draw, if I'm not pulling with all of my back muscles, you explain to me how that's possible. I'm absolutely using my back muscles. Let's take a look at it. I'm drawing underneath my chin like this, and you're seeing those back muscles engage. So I could sit here and talk probably for minutes at a time with this thing anchored underneath my chin. Maybe not minutes, it's hard to do. I'm pulling 52 pounds right now. But you get the point. It's a nice firm foundation. Then from that, by engaging only that portion of my finger right here, those knuckles, when I need to release, you'll notice the rest of my arm doesn't move. Let's try that again. I'm only pulling a little bit for the point. I'm anchoring firmly under my chin, but my release looks like this. Smooth, small motion release, like the release on a compound bow. You get the firmness of that triangle, you get the rigidity of that triangle. It allows you to still extend fully all your back muscles, but you get the flexibility just where you need it, which is right where your fingers are, where they're holding onto the string. Boop, like that. Give that a try when you're shooting. Give that a try when you're shooting. Form a rigid triangle starting at this joint in your finger. Elbow up if you want, elbow up. Form that triangle with your finger, your elbow, and your shoulder. Engage those back muscles on the draw and let yourself actually have a small motion release. By making a small motion release, you're not accidentally pulling to the side like this. Instead, it's a very small release, giving the minimum possible error that you might be introducing into your shot. That's it for today. Trying to keep these lessons very brief, very short. That's for Josep in Spain. I'm going to practice subtitling in Spanish so that you hear everything that I'm talking about. This was for you. This is Mark Vogt with Vogtland Outdoors. We'll see you out there. Cut. That went pretty well. Outtakes. Let's do a little shooting. It's going to rain. Watch how I knock. I want to show you guys this too. A lot of guys try to draw their arrow out and then they go like this, and then they try to pull it in like this and it's flopping around and they look stupid. Try this. Draw from the back of your hand, hold it rigidly, hold your bow out like this, put your arrow against your arm firmly, and knock it like that. No flopping around, no nothing. Give it a try, you'll like it better. Full end shooting method, 5 steps. 1, choose your gap. For me, it's 3 fingers. It's a 20-meter shot I'm making. 2, draw back under your chin so that it looks like this. 3, look down with this eye, look down the left edge of the string. That becomes your rear sight. 4, put the tip of the arrow right smack on that target. Looks like that. 5, small motion release. Small motion release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Cut. Oh, no, before. Can you see in the middle? Do you see how tiny the left to right error is? Let's go look at that really quick. This is what this shooting method is all about. This is what the small motion release is all about. By allowing your finger to quickly release, you're not introducing any left to right movement of the bowstring as you release, so you're not putting any left to right error into the back of the arrow. The result is that when I'm aiming at that little yellow spot, it's the only one here, you'll see there's a very small error here at what turned out to be 25 meters. That's what this is all about. There's all kinds of other techniques for shooting along the side of your face, pulling back, becoming, I don't know, they seem complicated. I'm just telling you, act like you have a compound bow release. Small motion, doink, doink, firm here, curl around the bowstring, small release, boink, and you're done. Give it a try. Bye. Nobody's here. It's a quiet day. Nobody bugged me. Don't feel guilty. Let's go take a couple shots at the 100. 100 yards, 90 meters, 99 yards. Boatland shooting method. Step 1, choose your gap. That's made up of start at the 20 meters, 3 fingers, and then adjust for the yardage. From 20 out to 90 is 70 meters. That's one finger is 20, so here's going to be 20 meters, 40, 60, 80, and there's 90. It has to be one finger over the top. We'll hear a little thunk if we're lucky. You have to have a really good release. Step 2, draw back under the chin. 3, look down the left side of the string. 4, tip of the arrow right smack on the center of that target. 5, bottom 4 o'clock. Let's try again. I'm 0 for 1. First shot of the day. One for 2. Two for 3. That first one hit wood though. So 2 for 3. Here's the last one. Then we're going to walk up. Three for 4. Let's go take a peek. Oh, I hope I don't run out of battery. $80 meters. Still recording. There's my, yeah, I got wood at the bottom. But the other two, 90 meters. Look at the distance on that. And this one, look at the release on that. Only about 3 inches to the left of target. Not bad for a method that I can teach to anybody in 5 steps in 30 seconds. Hope you enjoyed that. Cut! There's a point I wanted to make about shooting at 100 meters. It wasn't just for fun. It was to try to drive home a point that the release method that I teach has to be, by its very nature, has to be excellent. Because you're not going to hit shit at 100 meters, are you? You're just not. So it's got to be an okay method. If I can actually end up with that kind of precision. There's a tiny little breeze. I had one shot go drift a little bit off to the right, but the other one, when the breeze was quiet, you'll notice that those are both perfectly decent shots at 100 yards. Sorry, yeah, at 100 yards. You can't have a bad release at those distances. You're never going to make the target. You're never going to hit it, because the release is what really decides the quality of the shot, the accuracy of the shot. Hope you guys found that useful. See ya.